guys, it's Pai and welcome to my YouTube channel. So for today's video, I am going to share to you guys my UPCAT story. How I passed the UPCAT, what are my study tips, and sort of preparations for anyone out there who will be taking the UPCAT or any other college entrance exam in general. So without further ado, let's move on to the video. I applied for the UPCAT last year, and when the results were announced last April, I got accepted to a program in UP Manila. This part I am going to divide to 3 subparts: before UPCAT, during UPCAT, and after UPCAT. Let's start with before UPCAT preparations. So the application process for the UPCAT was relatively easy because most of it was actually done online. So as soon as the announcement was made by UP when they would accept applicants for UPCAT 2019, I immediately went to the UP website, made my own student account, and you should wait for a certain amount of days before you get the activation link sent to your email. And that activation link will of course activate your student account on the UP website. After I got the link, I activated my student account in the UP website, and then everything was literally there, like the procedures, what you should do next, and stuff like that. So yeah, it was that easy. But after that, you have to fill out forms. So you have Form 1 and Form 2. Form 1 was basically just general info about you, your background, your family background. I think there was also about income, family income, and stuff like that. So you have to take note of that. And for Form 2, Form 2 was actually the secondary school record. So you should fill out Form 1, and then your Form 2 should be filled out by your respective school administrator or anyone from your school for your grades to be reflected on your application. And then after your Form 1, your Form 2, and other requirements that you have to submit, you have to send your requirements and your application forms to the UP Office of Admissions. But in my case, I sent mine through courier or through LBC straight to UP Manila or UP Diliman, I forgot. Basta I sent it there. I didn't go to the university personally. My test permit was given to my campus, my school, and then my school gave it to me. They sent it to my classroom. So yeah, it was relatively easy. But in terms of payment, I think people are wondering, yeah, UPCAT is free. You don't have to pay any application fee whatsoever. But if you want to send your application form through LBC or through courier, of course you have to pay the necessary amount for that. So the UPG or the UP admission grade. So when you're taking up the UPCAT, I think it's best to know what UPG is. Your standing on the UPCAT does not solely rely on your raw scores on the test itself. So aside from your standardized UPCAT scores, they also consider your weighted average of the last 3 years of high school final grades, or basically your high school grades. So as early as high school, when you really want to be an Isko or an Iska, you have to do it in high school. It would really give you that necessary boost for your UPG. They also consider socioeconomic and geographic factors, which are actually reflected on your application forms. The selection is actually based on, of course, your UPG, your rank, your standing in the UPCAT. Aside from the program that you want to take, you have to consider the campus that you're going to apply for. You have to remember that each campus has a certain cutoff grade and a certain quota. You also have to consider other factors, say your dream campus, like you've always wanted to go to this certain campus since you were young, and other factors like proximity, would it be near to your house, budget, things like that. So you have to consider that before applying to UPCAT. And we move on to studying. It takes a huge chunk of time in terms of preparing for UP. UPCAT is definitely one of the hardest exams out there, especially for aspiring Isko Iska. So in my case, I I didn't go to any review center. I mean, my other classmates, my other colleagues, they went to a review center. But mine, I wasn't able to go during that time because we had like an extended vacation that gave me an ample amount of time to really prepare. And I decided to just self-study. This book really helped me in terms of my preparations for UPCAT. This is the MSA All College Admission Tests Reviewer. I just bought this National Bookstore and it's for 225 pesos. So with this book really helped me in terms of my preparations. Kasi it would give you like questions that you would most likely find sa UPCAT. But if you want, you could also go to review centers. If you have the money, the time to go to review centers, then you can go to review centers. It would be best if you could go to a review center with few people. In that way, you could focus more and you can concentrate more on studying. Don't pressure yourself. I mean, yeah, UPCAT is a really difficult exam, but you have to move at your own pace. Don't let yourself be distracted by your friends or your classmates who are like studying lots of books already, like they're way ahead of you. You'll get there. Because if you pressure yourself and like you put lots of information in your head, like to the point that you're squeezing too much information in you and it's not a healthy way of learning anymore, then you're not doing yourself a favor. Basically, the questions that you're going to face in UPCAT are more or less like from the topics that you had in senior high or in junior high. So in my case, I reviewed my materials way back in high school and also in senior high because they really helped me in preparing. I was actually kind of in a hurry already at that time. Like I wanted to achieve a certain goal, like by this week I have to finish this subject. So what I did, I watched YouTube tutorials or those short videos about certain topics just so it could give me a background on what the topic is like. So when I face it sa test paper, I wouldn't be dumbfounded like this is the first time I'm gonna see this or I'm seeing this. At least I have a background on what it is. For every week, I had like a certain goal. Like for this month or for this amount of time, I have to study math. Solely math. For this month, I have to study science. And for every week, it's a certain sub-part of science. Like for 1 week, I'll study bio. For another week, I'll study chem. For the next week, I'll study physics and general science. It depends on how you study, but at least your mind is organized on what you should focus on that certain time. There are a lot of topics or fields that the UPCAT will focus on, and it's hard to know which topic will actually be on the test itself. So it's good to be prepared. In preparing, I think it's nice if you know your weaknesses and you have to focus on them. Like in my case, I focused more on Hi guys, so I'm back. I went out for the whole afternoon and then I came back and it's already nighttime. It's probably darker compared to the previous clips, but anyways, let's continue. After you apply for UPCAT, they will actually be sending you some online reviewers that you could download or that you could print for free. I think they were free. Yeah, they were free. So I actually got mine. I printed mine and they were really helpful kasi aside from the book that I showed you a while ago, they also showed some possible questions which could come out in the exam. So more or less, the questions are kind of the same. So it could really give you the gist of how the exam would be like. There were times in my reviewing sessions or in my review for the UPCAT, there were times na I would review in the car or when I'm on mobile. So what I do is I would actually take out my phone and open some applications that I use. So some applications include UPCAT Reviewer by Dalubhasa. So it's very helpful. The questions there are kind of the same with the questions from the reviewer, the online reviewer, and from the book itself. So yeah, it could really help you when you want to review when you're outside or when you're not bringing a book. With regards to like formulas and important constants that you should remember, you can actually write them down in an index card. And that way, from time to time, you can read or you can view them and familiarize them so as to help you with the possible questions in math or in science. I mean, yeah, there were some questions that really needed a background on those formulas. So as long as you understand the concepts behind them, then it would really help you with the exam. In your test permit, of course, you would actually know which testing room you'd actually go to. But in terms of like, there are campuses that are really huge, so you wouldn't really know what room is this. I think it's really important if like days before or a week before the exam, you would know the testing room and where it is located in the actual campus. You can actually go to the campus and like look at it so that on the day itself, on the exam date, you would know where to go, and it would not take you a long time to go because they're quite strict with the time. So if this is the time set on your test permit for you to go to the testing room, then you have to go on that time and you shouldn't be late. Okay, we're done. Finally, we're done with the pre-exam preparations. Now we move on to the during UPCAT. During UPCAT, you really don't have to do much during UPCAT. So you just have to answer the test and that's about it. But you do have to remember, do not cram. Okay, my first tip for you during the date itself is do not cram. Be confident that you've read substantial information that would really help you during the exam. So do not cram on the exam date itself because chances are you're going to pressure yourself and you're just going to overthink that you didn't study enough and that you wouldn't make it or something like that. So don't cram. Be confident on the exam date itself. Say that you've studied enough because it would really help you for the exam. You can really sense the pressure in the exam room. I mean, there are students around you who really want to be in UP and you're there together with them who also want to be in UP. So, I mean, the last thing you want to do is to be eaten out of your pressure, if that makes sense. So, as much as possible, clear your mind before the exam. Be confident. As much as possible, it would be nice if you have like a clear mindset. A more peaceful mindset for the exam so as to not be pressured of the UPCAT itself. Prior to the exam date, UP will actually send you an email on the things that you have to remember and the things that you have to bring, and you have to bring them. You have to bring the test permit, you have to bring pencils, eraser, sharpener to really help you for the exam. And this is one thing that I forgot to bring and I really regret not bringing this, and it's food and water. And guys, the exam would take you like 5 hours, or in my case it was 5 to 6 hours, somewhere in there. We started at around 1 or 2 and then we ended at 7. I went out of the campus at 7. That's how intense it was, and it really got me hungry afterwards. So they actually allow you to eat your snacks while taking the exam, so it's kind of a working break. So it's nice if you bring something to munch on so as you wouldn't feel hungry. It depends on your testing room, but There are actually some testing rooms that are really cold. In my case, my testing room was really cold. So bring a jacket or wear comfortable clothes. You have to be confident in yourself, and you also have to ask help from the one above, because the exam is definitely one of the hardest there is. So it would be nice if you just reflect, pray, contemplate before the exam. Clear your head and just be confident and have faith. Lastly, we're done with the before and during UPCAT. Now we move on to the after UPCAT. So after UPCAT, there isn't really much to do after UPCAT. You just have to wait patiently for the UPCAT results. In our case, we took the exam. We were supposed to take the exam last September. It was postponed, and we took the exam last October, I think. October. And then the results came out last April. So yeah, there are a couple of months to wait. Your proctor during the exam, they will actually tell you the possible month or date when the results will come out. And you also have to keep posted on the different social media of UP, because they will be posting there the announcements, the dates, the results. If I did miss out on anything, you can actually find the information needed on the UP website. And if you applied already for the student account, then you will find all the things that you have to know and remember to prepare for UPCAT. So to anyone who is watching this video and who will be applying for UPCAT, I wish you all the best. God bless you, and yeah, you do your best and be future Isko or Iska. Thank you guys for watching this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye!